Hello, I'm Pam Carruthers of healingstars.com. This is the chart for the new moon, 13th of November. Set for London, it was at 9:27 GMT. And it's a Scorpio new moon. And here it is in this sector here. And I'm using whole signs to represent the houses. So there's the moon, there's the sun, and there's Mars. Mars is in Scorpio right now, and it's so close to the sun. And here it is at the new moon, and here's Uranus opposite in Taurus. And that is incredibly striking. Now, Uranus is unpredictable. It's to do with electricity. It can be the nervous system, but also it can bring inspiration, ideas that come out of the blue when it's in a positive. But this is not an easy combination. This Mars close to the sun stays very close to the sun really up until the new year. Then finally it will separate. So this is a very energetic, to say the least, conflict that's going on right now. And in the UK, lo and behold, we had the arrival of a former Prime Minister taking his place in the cabinet as the foreign minister. So that is absolutely Mars-Uranus shock. No one would have predicted that. I do have a technique. I can see David Cameron's chart, and it does clearly show that, this particular month that he's just moved into, November, how this has come about. Anyhow, that's a technique I use called profections. But let's look at this chart. Saturn is now direct, but it's at 0 degrees Pisces, 35. It stays at that degree all month, basically, all November. And if you've got anything in your chart at 0 degrees, Saturn is activating it. For good or not so good, depending on the sign. It's in Pisces, therefore it activates and helps the water signs. Pisces, water sign, Cancer and Scorpio. But it's too far away from this new moon to be effective. If I look over here, this gives me a very clear grid system that I can see what is most noticeable. And sure enough, that's the Mars energy there, and that's Uranus opposite. So that is obviously incredibly tight. What do I see when I look at Saturn? Well, I do see that the moon, the sun and Mercury are all connected to Mercury. So have I said that? Yes, I have. And 9 degrees applying to the moon. That's going to happen very soon. But the sun, it won't get there for another 9-10 days. The sun moves about 1 degree a day, so it's easy enough to calculate. Jupiter is not really doing very much right now. It's retrograde, and I look here, there's a little semi-square to Neptune, but that's, again, it's not really relevant. We've got trines, we've got flow of energy. So Neptune is actually positive with the sun and the moon, and also with Mars. This is the dreamer archetype, Neptune. And it is currently going through Pisces, a sign it loves to be in. So allowing dreams, allowing that quiet moments, or doing the washing up, or something mundane that takes you out of that thinking mode into the dream mode, the daydream mode. But also, what is it would you like in your life right now? And Neptune, look, it can give it to you. It's very, very important because of that flow of energy to moon and sun and Mars. We have the nodes. Yes, the nodal axis is another ongoing, very important connection to Pluto. Pluto, where is Pluto? 28 Capricorn. Here it is. It's moving forward now. And in January next year, 2024, it will start slowly, it's very slow, moving into Aquarius. We've had a little taste this year, but it will start to be more influential especially on the world stage. Pluto, if it's in your chart, well, it will be, but it's only really effective after midlife, and often, it is like the midlife crisis is when Uranus is opposite itself and Pluto makes a right angle, a square. So that is something that our parents didn't go through, and all our grandparents for that matter. But it is definitely that awakening energy of individuation, along with Chiron. Chiron is a 50-year orbit, currently in Aries. It's got an R next to it. Here it is, retrograde. And that is the wound about being the pioneer, going head first, having courage. Mars, coming back to Mars, likes the sign of Scorpio. And the Scorpio energy actually has 3 symbols. It has that nasty little insect, the scorpion. I've never seen one, I don't really want to. But also it has the eagle as a symbol. The eagle, of course, if you know, has great insight and vision. It can spot like a mouse, from high up. So that eagle, that's soaring above adversity. And then finally, Scorpio is to do with the phoenix or the dove. And if you've seen Harry Potter films or read the books, you might know about that. So it really is a transformational energy to go from those 3 different, very different symbols. And it's the only sign of the zodiac that has 3 symbols. So therefore, to use Mars effectively, importantly, stay grounded. Because Uranus is very ungrounding. It governs lightning. So one advice, very much stay grounded at this time throughout the rest of the year. And one advice I liked, stay away from crowds. Here in the UK, we did have nasty, very violent demonstrations on Saturday to do with 9/11, to do with the end of the war. It's our remembrance, cenotaph, big trouble. And that's very much the hooligan, the Mars element. One relief, I believe, at the moment, Mercury has now changed sign. It was with this combination in Scorpio. It's now in Sagittarius. It is, Mercury, here it is, in a good relationship to Venus. That's all positive. It's a square, it made a right angle to Saturn. And nothing else is really going on with Mercury at this time. In Sagittarius, Mercury is not really happy. Mercury likes detail. Sagittarius is the big picture. However, it's rather nice that it's in a good combination to Venus, which is now, yay, coming to it last. Venus is now in her own sign of Libra. When a planet's in its own sign, it performs well. And interesting, I mentioned David Cameron. He happens to be a sun sign Libra. That's his chart, and he is very charming, if people who know him say that about him. So the Venus energy is moving fast. It only takes about 3 weeks to go through a sign. Mars, as I said, slowly, with the sun, it's invisible. So be patient at this time for all the signs. Thank you for watching. Pam Carruthers of healingstars.com.